Alrighty, what's going on everybody? Ninja Star here, and today we are back at it again with our One Piece video for you all. I know it's been a bit of a while since I've done a One Piece video, let alone a One Piece discussion video, but here I am once again talking about what's going on right now in the One Piece story, because right now it's getting really interesting with the whole events in Whole Cake Island, Big Mom, Katakuri, everything that's going on. Joining me in today's video, I have a very special guest who is making his return on the channel. Everyone, please welcome, or re-welcome, Fronky. Say what's up, dude.
Hey, thanks. What's going on? Thanks for having me once again.
Yeah, we're going to be having a great discussion, and the topic in this video is actually a bit more of the on the negative side, considering all the positive stuff I just, praised Whole Cake Island for, is basically talking about the big fight that's going on right now in the recent chapters, and it's basically, is Luffy versus Katakuri dragging on too long? Now, this fight, if you've been reading it week to week for a while now, you know it's beginning to get a little long. Like, I think the fight started back in like 879, and right now we're on like 891, so that's about 12 chapters, and that doesn't sound all too bad, but given how, like, I guess we're reading it on a week to week basis, and how, like, for some chapters we don't even know, like, we don't even get to see what's going on in the fight. Like, Oda does this thing a lot with his chapters to where it kind of switches scenes, like, well, maybe there's a decent stopping point in that battle, maybe a few panels, then we switch over, I don't know, Sanji scene or something. That's kind of how Oda writes, and it's never really changed too much. And this one's no different, but it just seems to me that they're stretching this fight out a little longer than it should be. It's just, I think it could be many things. Maybe it's Oda trying to push the chapter 900 mark, because I noticed with a lot more of the recent One Piece arcs, they kind of have like a specific number. Zoe ended at like 825, and then Dressrosa ended at like chapter 800 or something like that. And I don't know if Oda's trying to push that, but it just seems to me that it's getting a bit long. But I want to give it over to Fronky first to give his thoughts on, I guess, this fight being too long, or is it just good enough?
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, I think for one thing it is a fantastic fight, so while it is a little bit long, I'm definitely pretty much happy to see it anytime it's on screen. I think it's really cool what Oda's doing. I think Katakuri is definitely one of the best antagonists, at least recently speaking. Right, so I think it is getting a little bit long, especially because, at least as of right now, I don't really know if there's any end in sight. Like, it doesn't really seem like... Well, if Luffy's gonna win, okay, then I have no idea when it's gonna end, because he seems to be losing right now. Even though in the last chapter he kind of got some kind of buff, since he is to some degree able to use Katakuri's type of observation haki, I suppose. Not really sure how that works yet. I mean, so yeah, like... I'm not really sure how long it could possibly go on. If it goes any longer than like 10 chapters, that's just going to be crazy, and then maybe Luffy will win. But if Luffy's to lose, it's probably going to be within the next 5. Other than that, yeah, no, it's really hard to say, because if Luffy wins, I don't really see how that's even possible. Like, he'd pretty much have to get even another kind of buff or something, because... if he only has Conqueror's haki, observation haki that's kind of similar to Katakuri's, but definitely not on the same level, because that would just be stupid, then how is he really going to be able to pull this off, since he already has a better Devil Fruit? It's pretty much just like Luffy's, but better in every way, at least as far as we've seen. And I would assume his armament haki is probably stronger too. That's kind of what we were seeing earlier in the fight, I think. So I don't really know how Luffy could win without another huge power-up that would probably take at least 10 more chapters, if not longer.
Yeah, the thing is about this is this fight I've noticed has taken a lot of turns. Like, I remember we made a video months ago that was basically talking about the new Devil Fruit awakening potential for Luffy after we found out that Katakuri was an awakened Devil Fruit user, and we kind of theorized that could potentially be a, I guess, output for Luffy to defeat Katakuri via an awakening, and now it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like he can defeat Katakuri even without Gear 4th and in his using observation haki. But then there's like several issues, like, okay, should Luffy be able to tap into observation haki at this point of the game? Like, his observation haki's always been good, but to have it to where it's like Yonko Commander level, I don't know about that. But I guess this is one of those instances where we saw in that Rayleigh flashback where haki blooms, like the more intense battles you get, the, I guess, stronger and more experienced you become. I'm messing up the wording, but I'll have a panel up on the screen for you all to, I guess, read and see what I'm talking about. But anyways, like, I do, if Oda's going in that route, I can kind of see where he's coming from, but like, I feel this fight has gone repetitive in a lot of aspects. Maybe it's just because Luffy seems to be getting an upper hand, then Katakuri just, I guess, bodies him because Luffy has like a major flaw. This is definitely a fight to where Luffy is progressing. Like, I am kind of happy this fight existed because Luffy needs at least a taste of Yonko territory, because he hasn't really, like, the New World up until Doflamingo wasn't anything too much of a challenge. Like, he struggled against Caesar first round, but then after that, nothing too bad. And then Doflamingo, where he actually did need quite a bit of help, but for the most part, he was able to beat Doflamingo, and we knew he was going to beat Doflamingo. But with this, it's a bit more, yeah, like, imagine a ton of Doflamingos, which is, Doflamingo's kind of like at least Yonko Commander level, if not higher. So just a bunch of those in this territory where you don't know, and Luffy's kind of picking up a fight with them. Of course, this is going to be more tough on him, and we need fights like this, Luffy versus Katakuri, to kind of show his progression, show how far he's come, show, I guess, an indicator of what he needs to rise up to, because he's definitely going to look to Katakuri as an interesting fighter. Like, he saw Katakuri's observation haki, and he's going to try to obtain, like, that level or higher. So in that instance, I'm okay with this fight being somewhat long because it shows his progression, but I feel, what was the point of introducing that whole awakening aspect? I mean, if they're going to introduce it, if they're going to, like, reintroduce it later words in, like, Wano, I mean, that's cool, but they could have just done it there rather than having to add more chapters to this fight. I think you all get what I'm trying to say. I'm going to give it over to Frankie. Fronky. I don't know why I messed up your name. What are your thoughts on the whole, I guess, hockey, Luffy progression type battle that's going on right now?
Well, right, so, I mean, I don't really know how I do feel about this whole Luffy now having Katakuri's type of observation haki, because it seems just like a little too overpowered. I mean, not just the fact that Oda's already stated that he wants Sanji to have the strongest observation haki before, so, in the crew. I don't understand why exactly Luffy would be getting this massive boost just out of nowhere, really. I mean, before the like whole thing went down during the wedding, he didn't even know that it was possible for this to happen with observation haki. So I think it's a little kind of insane that he just finds out about it and, oh, instantly he's already able to do it. I mean, sure, he had to go through a decent amount of stuff, but besides that, like, you see what I'm saying? It just seems like a little too easy for him. I mean, yeah, he's going to be the Pirate King. He's got to have a ridiculous amount of potential, but I just think it's a little too early. I think it would have been a lot more reasonable if he would have, like, lost to Katakuri and then just taken into account everything he learned and maybe trained on the way to Wano or something like that. I don't know. I just think in the middle of battle, it seems way too overpowered for Luffy to have it right now.
Right. And, I mean, Luffy has taken L's before, like, I mean, he barely won against Doflamingo, let's be real. If the Dressrosa people weren't there to help him, Luffy honestly would have died. And he did lose against, like, one time against Caesar because he wasn't knowing what to predict. And if anything, is kind of getting sidetracked. If Zoro hadn't been there to kind of knock some sense into Luffy, like, hey, you gotta start taking the New World seriously, Luffy would still treat this like paradise, you know? That's just, I feel, the way it's going, and I do like that this battle is showing Luffy's indicator, like, hey, he's starting to take it a bit more seriously, because we haven't gotten too much like this. I mean, Dressrosa was there, but it wasn't exactly Yonko territory, and the Yonkos are kind of the end-all be-all for Luffy and his crew and One Piece story moving forward. So it's natural that we're going to need to see some build-up, and that's why I'm okay for stuff like this, but I feel, I don't know, it's tough to say. I don't know if, like I said earlier, I'm iffy if Oda's, like, trying to push that chapter 900 mark, which, I mean, I guess he's trying to be consistent, but I would rather quality over quantity, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, it's just, I'm really in the middle about this. Like, it's certainly a great fight, like what you were saying at the beginning of this video. I do definitely enjoy what they're doing here. I don't think we haven't really gotten too many fights like this, and I do understand that One Piece fights aren't exactly the shortest. To put into perspective, Luffy versus Rob Lucci was around, like, 20-something chapters, 15-20 chapters, and that's crazy to think about because when we were binging Enies Lobby, all of us, we weren't really taking that into account, but I guess for someone who's watching or reading it weekly, it seems a lot more evident that, hey, this is becoming kind of a slow fight. Maybe it's because they constantly switch scenes to, like, what's going on with Sanji, what's going on with the crew, but to be fair, Enies Lobby did that too, so it is really, it's interesting to see the direction that they're taking with this fight. It is definitely one that's taken twists and turns, but at the same time, I wish they would have developed the hockey earlier so we could maybe get this fight over with. And if Oda, if he still wanted to go with that, I guess, specific number mark, he could have just ended off at 895. I guess at most, pushing to that chapter 900 mark. I don't know. That's basically my thoughts. I know that kind of went into ramble territory there, but Fronky, do you have any last points?
Yeah, I mean, again, so, like, I really am enjoying the fight. Every single time we get some Luffy and Katakuri action, even though there's so much other stuff going on, we get to see Big Mom all the time, we get to see the Sulong, you know, the moon form for Carrot, and maybe we'll see, I bet we will probably see, like, even Peckham's or something before Luffy vs. Katakuri is over. But the thing is, even though all this awesome stuff is going on, every time those two are on screen, that is my most happy point. That's when I know this is going to be a good chapter. So while I do think that it is dragging on a little bit, I'm not very satisfied with Luffy already being able to use, like, in the future observation hockey. I still think it's a fantastic fight, so I don't really have too many bad things to say with it, just a few small criticisms, and overall, I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Totally. Like, I do like what they're doing here, kind of giving someone for Luffy to match, and this is kind of his way of getting better and to push him to do better moving here on out, because Wano, there's Kaido, and I think that's enough right there. But I guess that's a good way to end off the video. I want to thank you all so much for watching this. If you enjoyed what you had to hear, subscribe to my channel, check out Fronky's channel. Guy always makes some fantastic One Piece content, always consistent with his stuff, very entertaining to listen to. I highly recommend that you all check him out. Follow me on Twitter, follow him on Twitter. Be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed, and give your thoughts in the comment section, because I've seen some people love this fight. I've seen many people kind of iffy about this. I want to hear everyone's perspective, because I know this is slightly divisive of a topic in the One Piece community. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Ninja out. Peace for your buddy, and have a good day.